Hello and welcome to Theatre.Reviews with Paul. I'm here at the National Theatre to see The Confessions. How much do we really know about what went on or goes on in someone else's life, even if we're friends or family? Alexander Zeldin, who's written a series of successful plays about ordinary people based on interviews, this time has decided to find out about his mother's life. On the surface, another ordinary person. A life, she told him, and tells us, that is not interesting. Not an encouraging opening line when you know you've got 2 hours without an interval to sit through, but it turns out to be blatantly untrue. Keep watching and I'll tell you why. But first, please like, comment and subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Part of what writer and director Alexander Zeldin is saying is that everyone has a story worth telling, if you tell it right. Which is what he does, as he picks out key episodes from his mother's life that show what women had to cope with in the sexist, racist 60s and 70s, first in conservative Australia and then in the apparently progressive Europe. And how, as they say, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. First we meet Alice as an older woman, brilliantly played by Amelda Brown, standing in front of a red curtain. Then the curtain is drawn back and her story begins. Young Alice appears. Played by Eryn Norvill, you can believe they are the same person at different stages of their life. Both have a ready smile and a vulnerability that makes you empathise as her creativity is suppressed by those around her. You don't need to set the bar at an unrealistic height for yourself, says her first husband. Also revealed is Marg Horwell's clever set. It occupies a standard proscenium arch, but within that there's a smaller arch, giving 2 areas for scenes to take place. And often we see the scenes changing and how the set is constructed, as if all the memories are in the same space. In other words, in Alice's mind. And this is something I love, that it is patently a piece of theatre, from the set itself to the way the older Alice observes the younger one, sometimes smiling, sometimes distressed. There are many moments when we wonder what is false memory or interpretation or just plain wishful thinking. Alice and a friend even argue over a particular memory, one we've witnessed earlier. I gather Mr. Zindel did also speak to people from his mother's life, so we're never left in doubt that we are being told a story. But then our memories are a story we tell ourselves. As her second husband says, both memories can be true. It is, as people are fond of saying these days, Alice's truth. Or perhaps, to be absolutely fair, Alexander Zeldin's interpretation of her truth. And as such, it speaks to our hearts. Many of the men in her life attempt to block and diminish her, and we also see from early on how women, from school friends to her mother to a right-on feminist, try to undermine her confidence. Often, like the men, the women want to make themselves feel better about their own situation at the expense of someone else. Alice's first husband, Graham, is pretty nasty, but the worst man she meets is Terry, an art historian. Graham is initially stiff and shy, but eventually is revealed as possessive and rigid in his thinking. He insists, against her objections, on having sex to make a baby. I'll only take a few minutes, he says. Terry is big-headed and narcissistic. She gets the better of him in an argument about art, and he regains his self-respect by raping her. It's a scene that is played out behind a door in excruciating silence. A truly chilling moment. And it's followed by an extraordinary scene of revenge in which the older Alice gets him to strip naked, as she does the same, then denying him sex to teach him a humiliating lesson in consent. I imagine the reason it's the older Alice doing this is because it's what she wishes she'd done at the time, rather than what actually happened. Both these brutal men are played by the same actor, Joe Bannister, who creates 2 very different characters, but shows us that they're cut from the same threadbare cloth. Similarly, the 2 women who try most to eat away at her confidence, her mother and the feminist Eva, are both played by Pamela Rabe. Again, an impressive acting achievement in creating 2 contrasting but comparable characters. One apparently meek, the other a larger-than-life bully. The other actors are just as talented, often playing multiple parts, and often making the same point about similarities. Jerry Killick plays two obnoxious men, Eldon and Joss. Brian Lipson is Alice's caring but ineffective father, and her kindly but nervous companion, Jacob. Yasser Zadeh plays various sincere, emotional young men, including her friend Lee, and Lilit Lesser as Pat, a naval officer, shows that men don't have a monopoly on racism, militarism, or immorality. Gabrielle Scawthorn is Alice's friend Susie, who swaps one restricted life for another. A quick word of praise for the lighting by Paule Constable. The house lights stay up for the whole show, but there are many subtle changes of mood. And Yannis Phippakis provides dramatic, sonorous music. And while theatricality reigns, there is the contrast of conversations that are ultra-realistic, full of people talking over one another, faltering and failing to finish sentences, again making us believe what we're being told. In the end, you are uplifted by Alice's ability to survive what her mother called a world full of hard surfaces, thanks to her resilience, her compassion, and her self-belief. There is a fantastic moment when the smaller arch turns completely around and she steps through it, like Piero in the painting by Watteau that she so admires. When her son, the author, played by Lilit Lesser, eventually arrives on the stage and is revealed as a rude, angry teenager, we have proof that children don't know their parents and only see them from their selfish point of view, unless they take the trouble to find out more, as the great Alexander Zeldin has in this extraordinary story of an ordinary life. I give The Confessions 5 stars. I hope you enjoyed this review, or at least found it useful, and if you did, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Then you'll be the first to know about my future reviews. If you want to read my reviews, go to Theatre.Reviews, and you can follow me on Threads, Mastodon, X, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you for watching.